probably more like
nice.
75, but that still feels crazy spinny. Wow. Hey Team Worldwide, welcome back to the channel. Today we are at the ECPC Callaway's Testing Center. I'm here with Garrett Pond. He is one of the head fitters and builders out here. And today we got something special, Callaway OPUS SP. Garrett, give us a little lead into what we're looking at today.
Yeah, this is the latest in the evolution of our OPUS line of wedges. It started a couple years ago with trying to come up with a shape that we knew would get tour validation. And over time we found a shape, matched that with some grinds that we know players are looking for to play the best golf in the world. And then we wanted to add some technology to that shape and to those grinds, and that's where the SP comes in. We're going to talk a little bit about the changes in the technology today, kind of see if we can notice some changes in the performance for yourself, because that's what this wedge is all about, improving the performance.
Two of the key technologies, SP stands for?
Yeah, right there on the wedge you'll see SP, that stands for spin pocket. So that's alluding to the fact that the center of gravity is moved significantly higher up in the wedge by way of reducing weight in the sole and moving it higher up into the top line there to lower the trajectory, increase the spin. You're going to get the most spin per degree of launch for all those techie fitters out there that are using that. You're going to see massive spin per degree of launch with this line of wedge.
And then we've also got Spin Gen 2 on the face.
Spin Gen 2, yeah, so that's a couple things. The grooves are slightly modified. We've changed the pitch to where it's a little bit steeper pitch angle, 17 degrees now. That improves the spin robustness from the rough. So we had a lot of these shots out of the rough around the greens. You want to improve the spin there, not just on the fairways. And then we've got the micro grooves on the face. We've laser etched the grooves into the face just like before, but we've put it under the plating. So now there's some durability to the surface texture on the face.
Awesome, so it's all about spin, everyone. And today we are going to give them a test run. I'm going to run through the grinds. Garrett's going to get a chance to explain the grinds to you. And if you hang around and follow, subscribe, like to the channel, we are going to do another video where we help me find my personal grind. So stick around for that. Let's jump into the test run. Okay, so we're kicking things off with a 5210S.
You're going to get a chance to try all the grinds. The S grind is always a good place to start because it's the workhorse of our product line. Enough bounce for those that know they want it, versatile enough for those that know they like that too. In the lower loft and sand wedge lofts, a good amount of bounce on an S grind. As you transition to the lob wedge, it's a little bit lower bounce for the versatility for open face shots. So yeah, whether players are using a pitching wedge, Opus, or a gap wedge, and for the most part the sand wedge, the S grind gets the majority of the use out there. And part of the evolution I alluded to in shapes for Opus wedges. This year we've modified the pitching wedge and gap wedge lofts. The shape of those look a little bit more like a full swing club. So what does that mean? The leading edge is a little bit straighter. There's not quite as much offset as the sand and lob wedges, and the toe has a little bit higher peak to it. So if you look down at it, it's going to kind of, feel like it's somewhere between a pitching wedge and the sand wedge that you might use.
Yeah, definitely does feel like an iron almost when you're looking at that height in the toe there. Feels really good. And I'm not focusing too hard on spin on those longer shots. I really want like my gap wedge to be my number club, like whatever my pitching wedge does, maybe 12, 15 yards less than that.
Yeah, and for players like yourself that have a lot of speed, more spin isn't always a good thing. You see a lot of good players like ripping the ball back on the greens and they say, well, that's too much of a problem. I don't need that much spin. So the spin pocket that we're talking about today is in the sand and lob wedges only. We're not putting that in the lower lofts, the gaps and pitching wedge lofts.
Okay, well take me down to a sand wedge and see, let's introduce a new grind.
Yeah, okay, so back by popular demand, we've had this grind in our line before, didn't have it in last year's Opus, is the X grind. So a real narrow sole, sort of crescent shaped sole. The players that like to hit a lot of flighted down shots, 3/4, lean the handle forward, maybe the ball's back, love this grind.
Okay, let me try a few. I actually like hitting that shot myself.
Nice.
Feels really good. And it's got plenty of spin on it, even when it...
It's 86 yards right there, so you know your numbers, know your feel. So what would you, do you know your spin a lot, like what you expect to see on an 80-yard shot?
With that kind of flight, I think I'd probably be around 8,000 maybe.
That was 10,800.
Right.
So the spin pocket, the groove technology, the surface texture, it's the real deal. You should see an increase in spin.
probably more like
Nice.
75, but that still feels crazy spinny.
9,900 there, and that was 75 yards carry.
Yeah. Wow, that's impressive. I really like that grind too. It really allows me to like lay it open and see the divots not too big or too shallow, which some people are worried about with that higher bounce skipping. Definitely not.
Yeah,
that.
for sure. If you have a lot of bounce, kind of the thing players don't want to have is it bounce into the ball too much, and then the ball rolls up the face, and you don't see that low flight with the high spin like you're getting right there.
Yeah. Okay, what's next?
Okay, if we move on to another grind, you got 3 other types of grinds. One of the grinds you'll find available in 50 through 60, which is the wide sole grind. And you know, I've kind of been alluding to the fact that this line of wedges has been an evolution to get here. The W grind itself has kind of evolved over time. It started as a real wide sole, which is what the W stands for, with a real high bounce angle. And we've tried to add versatility into that grind so that it has a little bit broader appeal to lower handicap players that either like a lot of bounce but want some versatility, but maintain its general forgiveness attributes, which is why you might want a wide sole in the first place.
And I think people don't necessarily understand forgiveness with a wedge. Forgiveness with a wedge for me is when I make that bad swing, be it leading edge goes in or come in too shallow, the club, the sole of the club, the versatility of the club helps get it through the ball with good contact still.
Yeah, exactly. And also the spot where players, you know, that maybe aren't the best with a wedge, that like a lot of forgiveness, is going to be out of the bunker.
Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Tell us which wedge you think, which one you like the look of, if the W grind might be right for you. And remember, we are going to release a video which is Find My Grind. We'll actually put these 58 degrees to the test to find which one works for me. So if you hit that subscribe button, that's going to pop up in your notifications. We want to see you there. Doubling down on what you said with that W grind, noticeably, like when I look at it from this angle, I remember the last W got much higher in this heel section. I can see all this shape built into the wide sole now.
Yeah, a lot more camber. The high point of the soles moved a little bit closer to the leading edge than we've had in the past. So that adds to the versatility, and that also makes it great out of the sand to be able to hit the ball with a lot of width on the sole, high and short. When you move that high point significantly further back, the high short bunker shot becomes a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
So you've got a forgiving sole with versatility as we're contouring the wide sole and moving the touch point or the high point of the bounce forward.
I love it. Well, this is a 58 14W, so maybe I'll try and hit something like 60 yards, 62 yards, something like that. Yep.
W grind in
Nailed
general,
it.
if you're going to try and match a grind to a swing, someone that a little bit like the X grind likes a lot of bounce. Obviously the wide sole plays with a lot of bounce. Steep attack angle, soft conditions. Even some players that play on tight lies don't want the club to kind of get into the ground. They almost like the sensation of the club sort of just bruising the turf
Quickly, yeah.
and kind of sliding that way. So
Yeah.
we're trying to give all those players that like those features a good grind in the W.
This is a bit different for me. I can definitely feel like just my preference. The X felt like it gave me the shot
Yeah.
I wanted. This one I can feel a bit more sole on the
I don't
ground.
know if the sound is going to come through on the video here, but you can hear the sound a little less crisp, a little bit more bounce to the sole.
Yep.
And then if a club over bounces, it's going to start launching higher. So we're not seeing the super flat high spin shot
And I love
matching
that
this
shot.
grind to your swing.
Right, and that's interesting. And this again leads back to the fitting, getting fit at worldwide golf retail locations. Is, you know, I thought this might be good because I like the X and I like the high bounce, but just really didn't feel quite right for what I'm doing.
Yeah, if those were our only 2 options thus far, you would be an X grind guy for sure.
What's next?
So you could always do an S grind. That's in every loft that we make. We talked about it at the 52. That would be a good option to try. We've kind of gone through that one already. I want you to see the 2 that we haven't looked at all. I'll start with the C grind.
Perfect.
C grinds have been in Callaway wedges for quite some time. Fairly low bounce. So we've had C grinds in the past where the bounce got a little on the high side and a little bit on the wide side for the width, even though you kind of look at them and they look fairly similar. This one, we've reduced the width a little bit, reduced the bounce ever so slightly to where the best players in the world, this type of grind's a little bit more attractive to them.
Still works. So I feel more comfortable opening this one up straight away. Because it feels like that's got a ton of spin on it again.
Ripping back on the fairway.
Wow.
So that's a fairly short shot, only just under 70 yards of carry. almost 10,100 RPMs to spin, and that looks like kind of a, what you call a three-quarter?
Yeah, three-quarter
lob wedge to get it over 10,000. You used to only really see the 10,000 to 11,000 crowd when they're, you know, giving it the full
shot,
full rip. Yeah,
100%. This has really been. That's why in that first one when I hit that, I said 8,000. I haven't seen get to 10s and 11s for a long time. So especially on shorter shots.
So C grind, fairly low bounce. You might say it's like, well, you got to have a shallow attack angle, but better players that are steep often love the C grind. You know, they're going to catch ball first, so they may not be worried about the club kind of getting into the ground and taking more of a divot. They may value the versatility that the C grind brings to the equation. And
then working down into this last tour grind, I guess it's a more aggressive version.
Yeah, last tour grind, again, tour validation is what we talk a lot about with these Opus wedges. We worked closely on this next grind, getting a wedge made sort of tailored around what John Rahm likes to do with his lob wedge. So the T grind is just that grind as well. So more relief on the trailing edge. So if you look at it kind of like I'm looking at the wedge this way, you'll see the grind really tilted back that way. So there's tons of relief there, where the C grind sits a little bit higher on that portion of the sole as well.
So this actually is a little scary. I think for most people when they think T grind, tour grind, like low bounce, kind of gets a bit scary. But this is what it's all about, test run, to see what happens.
Yeah, see how you like it. I would say like the players that kind of gravitate towards a wedge like this, gravitate towards how they want a wedge to chip.
Right.
And if they like to open the club face a lot when they chip, or they're playing on firm conditions as well, another good firm course, firm condition grind is the T. Very versatile. You can open it wide open, and you'll, even on a tight lie, you'll think the leading edge is still hugging the ground. And that gives a better player confidence when they're trying to hit those open face shots with a lot of spin and a lot of height.
But this thing, like you say, if I can open this up like wide open and it feels like the leading edge is still there, it's kind of crazy.
And naturally the T grind as well as the C grind don't come in the lower lofts. It's mostly the lofts that players are likely to open the face a lot with around the greens.
Yep.
Whereas the S grind, kind of our workhorse, you can get that in all the lofts.
I was actually worried about hitting the tip of my cap with this shot. It feels like it can go straight up. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, if you want to hit it straight up, this is a good grind to be able to do that.
Really fun, really fun. I'm interested to see, what do you get spin rate on that? Because it's not going very far, it's going super high, so I'm assuming that peels it back a little bit.
Yeah, that one didn't have as much spin as some of your other ones there. Under 10,000 that time.
Okay.
Let's give it a fair assessment here. Let's get you a fresh wipe on the face here.
And I'll try and hit a little lower.
Anyone that's measuring spin as they test clubs, whether it's wedges, which is a good spot to test for, for spin consistency or spin in general, or irons, it's kind of annoying, but every shot you should clean the face.
Clean it, right?
Just like when we play golf, you don't, scuff it up in the practice swings and then hit your shot. You usually wipe the face clean.
Give it a wipe, for sure. All right. There you go.
Oh, yeah, that one came out a little bit lower than the last one, having the fresh groove there. Yeah, so you're 8,000 on that shot.
Okay, and that's for me, it's like no effort and no speed into that, so it creates great spin even at slow speeds.
Yeah.
Garrett did an awesome job of explaining which grind is going to suit which player type. Hopefully you found the category that's right for you. Drop it in the comments. Let us know what you think about Opus SP as a whole, which grind you're going to try out, and make sure you head to worldwidegolf.com or Worldwide Golf retail location to book your fitting for Callaway Opus SP.